LeBron is leaving the Lakers. It's official. LeBron James is not coming back to LA. And I know a lot of Laker fans are actually kind of happy this is happening. They're like, yeah, let's move on. But it hurts. Before LeBron joined the Lakers, we were all hoping that D'Angelo Russell, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Julius Randle, one of these guys was going to become the next superstar. I remember vividly when Brandon Ingram got the honor of having Kobe's locker, and they're like, the prophecy. It's going to be Brandon Ingram. We're going to have our own Kevin Durant. It was just an unrealistic expectation on Ingram. And then here comes LeBron James. After LeBron James had his incredible 2018 season, he had the choice to go wherever he wanted. A lot of teams, good and bad, had a lot of cap space available to him, right? They could pay him the max. All these teams, and this is obviously before the new CBA rules we know now today. I remember it was the Knicks, Philly. Philly was a serious contender. Miami was trying to do something there. And obviously the Lakers and Clippers, right? Everyone always points towards it. But it felt different this time. And I remember I was like, I think LeBron might choose the Lakers. And I was like, they got KCP, Rich Paul. He has an agent connection there. Maybe it's going to happen. And I was in the hotel room after moving to Atlanta. This was literally 2 days after I moved to Atlanta. And boom, I get the news. LeBron James intends to sign a 4-year deal or a 5-year deal. I think it was 4-year deal with the Lakers. And I was screaming out the window to my dad, who was going to the car. I was telling him, LeBron James is coming to the Lakers. And from that point, I knew the course of Laker history would change for the better. We would no longer be a bottom feeder team. One of the greatest players of all time chose the Lakers. And a lot of people are like, yeah, this was a business decision for LeBron. You know, Hollywood. I think that played a big part of when LeBron James joined the Lakers. But I think we don't give LeBron enough credit that he took a leap of faith with the Lakers. That team was not the best team he could have joined. Of the realistic options he had, that was not the best team. You could argue maybe Philly was. Even the Knicks were in the same boat with the Lakers, so it's like, might as well go to Madison Square Garden. Especially with how dysfunctional the front office had been with the Lakers, with Jeannie Buss firing her brothers, and a new manager in Rob Pelinka and Magic Johnson before Magic Johnson left. Like, that's a huge risk. And I know it sounds like glaze, but we do not give enough credit to LeBron for taking a leap of faith with the Lakers. And that is why when he won that 2020 championship, it meant a lot. Because I started following the Lakers when I first moved to the U.S. My dad was already a big fan of the Lakers back in the early Kobe years. And one of my first memories I have of the Lakers is them winning Game 7 against the Celtics. And then I immediately got hooked on. It didn't matter that they would go on to not three-peat the next year. They would get swept by the Mavericks. And the next few years, it would get defeated by Oklahoma and then the Spurs. And then go on this long drought of not making the playoffs. I remember thinking like a player like Ryan Kelly might change the course of the Lakers. I'm like, this is their sixth man. I remember thinking like Adam Levine was going to get us LaMarcus Aldridge. It was moments like that where when I saw LeBron James lead our team, it felt like all those moments of hoping that something would tilt our way. Obviously, the Lakers historically have always had things tilted their way. I'm aware of that. But me as a young fan and then growing up with the franchise, I hadn't really consciously followed the Lakers in a championship run, a successful one at that. And then seeing them do it in probably the harshest conditions you could do it. And I don't mean harsh, but they were in the Mickey Mouse Hotel, right? It's a nice hotel. But what I mean is like, it's one of the most mentally tough championships ever accomplished. It is. I don't care. Mickey Mouse ring, I hate that. I hate that. It does not do credit, and I think people do that because LeBron won it and he did it with the Lakers. I think if the Clippers had won it, or the Nuggets or the Bucks or the Celtics, they would have called it the toughest ring ever. People would have been talking about that ring just as much as Dirk Nowitzki's ring. LeBron James led a Lakers team that had been irrelevant for over 8 years and led them to a championship in his second year. Now, obviously with the Lakers, that's always the expectation, right? Championship, but and that is always my expectation. You know, no matter what the roster is, I want the Lakers to make a deep playoff run. But at the same time, you take a step back and a lot of teams dream of this. Just look at the New York Knicks recently. Hadn't made the finals in 30 years. And then they hadn't won a championship in over 50 years. And now they finally get one. It's difficult to win in the NBA, the highest level of basketball. Yeah, we talk about dynasties, but at the end of the day, if anything, these past 8 years where there has not been any repeat winner, winning an NBA championship is difficult. And I also give credit to LeBron for this. He won the Lakers one of the toughest championships ever during one of the toughest eras to win a championship, to repeat winning a championship. I saw this incredible video saying the LeBron era is it a failure since it only ended in one ring. And this reporter said, well, if it's a failure, then SGA's career so far is a failure. Jokic's tenure with the Nuggets is a failure. Giannis's tenure with the Bucks is a failure. We do not look at these three guys as guys who have underachieved. And I look at that and I'm just full of appreciation for what LeBron James did for the Lakers. And again, it sucks to see him go. And again, I won't call this a failure. I think LeBron James should get his number retired because he brought us back from the depths of NBA purgatory. LeBron James saved the Lakers. And I say this as a Laker fan, not as a LeBron James fan. I'm a fan of LeBron James, but I'm always a Laker fan first. No matter what. I'm a Laker fan first. I still blame LeBron for pushing the Russell Westbrook trade. Yeah, that was damaging. But at the end of the day, who is pulling the trigger on trades, right? Rob Pelinka is. But at the end of the day, LeBron James did so much for the Lakers. And I see a lot of people being like, yeah, get him out of here. I just don't understand why we do this with greatness. Doesn't matter if you don't like the guy or not, okay? LeBron's greatness is just unfathomable. It's hard to put into words. You can't explain it. That is just who LeBron James is. That is why he's in the GOAT conversation. There's few players like him that exist in our lifetimes. And I'm talking like the Messis of the world, the Mbappes, and right now with the World Cup. These players do not come around often. These are once-in-a-lifetime type of players. And it's incredible that one of those players decided to play for the Lakers. Alright, he didn't get traded there. And yes, I know the Lakers will always have favoritism in getting these type of players. But what I hate is when I hear other Laker fans being ungrateful. Why are we ungrateful? First of all, if it does come out that the Lakers did have a chance to retain LeBron if they paid him more, I need to hear more details. I need to see why they didn't choose to pay LeBron. Is LeBron James worth $50 million? He actually is. But should you give him $50 million? That is where the debate comes in. Because the Lakers need to build a team around Luka. You gotta worry about Luka. Luka, as young as he is, you gotta get a team that's ready to win now. Alright? Luka's not 21, okay? He's around 27 or 28. So you do gotta win now. His peers, Jalen Brunson, SGA, these are guys that are winning championships now. Luka is bound to have one. But the Lakers need to build a team around him. And I think LeBron James understood that as well. And I hope the Lakers understand that as well. So if it does come out that the Lakers chose not to pay LeBron $50 million because they're going to spend the money on X player, this and that. These players that they're spending the money that probably would have gone to LeBron, these players better be players that move the needle towards a championship run. The New York Knicks showed us that it is possible to win with two of your primary players being not a huge defensive threat. And I think a lot of people don't realize that Luka doesn't guard point guards. So they're like, yeah, your backcourt's so weak. Luka's not actually going to guard shooting guards or point guards, all right? Maybe Austin Reeves, and I think you can get away with that, but Luka's probably going to guard the slower players. Now, that being said, if it does come out that the Lakers chose to let LeBron walk because they didn't want to pay him $50 million, and then the Lakers don't get players that move the needle, I think Rob Pelinka should resign. Not even get fired. He should resign for failing Luka and Laker Nation. Maybe there's a grand plan, because the thing I don't understand about LeBron James walking, if LeBron James simply just didn't want to play for the Lakers and just wanted to play with his friends with the Warriors or wanted to go back home or whatever the case may be, if that just literally the truthful and genuine reason LeBron James left the Lakers, I understand that. Okay, tough situation, not much you can do. But if it comes out that LeBron James did not want to return to the Lakers because the Lakers didn't want to pay him, then the Lakers better show why they didn't want to pay him and who they got instead. But all that to say, I'm going to miss LeBron. He brought the Lakers back from the depths of NBA purgatory. The Lakers are relevant again. And I think, and I don't know if this is just optimism, but I think he left a lasting impact on the core for the Lakers, Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic. And I think the Lakers are primed to be a championship contending team for years to come. Only if Rob Pelinka gets players that explain why the Lakers didn't offer LeBron James the max. And you're like, yeah, why are you paying 42-year-old LeBron James $50 million? Because he's the best free agent right now. There's literally no one right now in this free agency. That's why the Lakers have this much amount of money to spend. If there's no plan, you get LeBron James and then you figure out a plan. I really hope the Lakers can figure this out. And soon, maybe the news just happened, right? Right now it's June 30th around 8 p.m. Maybe something happens while I'm editing this video. Because I'm hearing Marcus Smart is leaving. That's my worry. I'm hearing Marcus Smart is leaving. And the contract that he's projected to get, the Lakers can match that. Because I hate this pattern with the Lakers, where they let a guy walk and then they replace him. And then we're all wondering, why are we staying the same? It's because we didn't add to the team. We just replaced someone. You can't do that. Replacing someone is not an improvement unless you're replacing them with a premier player, which is very hard and rare to do. Not just for the Lakers, but for so many teams. I don't know. It's tough. I'm losing my voice. I'm very passionate about this. This LeBron James situation is tricky. But, again, I think we all gotta stop hating on greatness. Let's just appreciate it. Because I bet that in a couple of years, we're going to be like, wow, those LeBron Lakers years, those were amazing. We took them for granted. We should have enjoyed them more. I enjoyed them. I got to watch LeBron James every single time he came to Atlanta. And every single time he gave us a show. And I didn't get to see him this past season because he was injured. But the last time I saw him, I think he dropped like a 40-point triple-double. And I was just talking to my fiance and I was like, we'll never see this again. We're never going to see another LeBron James. Like Victor Wembanyama, for example. I'm a huge fan of him. And I can be as delusional as I can. But I seriously don't think he'll ever be a Laker unless something crazy happens. With LeBron James, I'm glad I'll never be in that situation. I'll always be like, LeBron James, one of the greatest players of all time, was a Laker and won a championship as a Laker.